We're here with Coach Randy Jackson on this week's edition of Pirate Talk, brought to you this week by Community Life Church. And we are so grateful that you joined us. And Coach Jackson, first of all, congratulations on a big win last week.
Thank you. It's just great to start district off with a W.
Right. And because really everything before that's almost preseason, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we really break it down. Everybody does this into two distinct seasons. But we tell the kids, we want to, of course, win every game. But when district starts, it's really, really big deal.
Well, 43-14 was the final, but it didn't start quite like that in the first half.
No, it was pretty – we played a little bit in the first half like a team that had been off for a week. We made a few mistakes here and there. Really, our defense played well the first half, gave up, I think, one big play. Offensively, we sputtered. At halftime, we challenged them a little bit, and we came out in the third quarter and I think scored 21 points in the third quarter. And so we kind of reestablished really our momentum and all in the second half.
Right. And so tell me a little bit about that game, and you kind of got a little bit of rhythm, as you mentioned, in the second half. But in the first half, of course, your defense is what kept you in it. Talk a little bit about that defense and their performance.
Our defense has really played great all year. I think for the game, Newman Smith had 28 rushes for 33 yards or something like that. It was just awesome. I mean, it really is hard to lose a game when you can hold your opponent to those kind of rushing numbers. Malik Jefferson was our defensive player of the week. He's a big sophomore outside backer who's had a great year. He had 2 sacks, blocked a field goal, just his normal kind of do everything kind of week.
Right.
C.J. Collins.
A fine player. Actually, he's going to be on a lot of people's radar by this time next year.
Yes, sir. I mean, he's 6'2", and he's one of those guys who good grades. I mean, he's a great kid. C.J. Collins is our other outside backer, had 8 tackles, senior, good player, good leader for us. Patrick Brackens blocked another field goal. That's 2 weeks in a row he's blocked a field goal, which is just...
It's kind of a game changer, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I mean, it's really, we keep up with turnovers. We're plus 10 this year on turnovers, and we count block punts and block field goals as a turnover because it's just such a momentum deal.
Absolutely.
And, studies show when you block a punt, you're going to win the game about 80% of the time, I think.
Kidding me? Wow. That's amazing. So now on the offensive side of the ball, it was a little bit later, but Tanner, we talked about last week, and, kind of taking a little rest for his arm, but it seems like, especially in the second half, really turned it on.
Yeah, he did. He played like a senior should play. And at the end of the game, we looked at the stats. He had 19 carries. I didn't really have any idea during the game. I'd given it to him that much. But, he's just a big physical kid down on the goal line. And so, but we had 8 different kids catch a pass. We always are really trying to spread the ball out. So, we're real proud of that. And James Swindle was our top running back. He had 10 carries for 93 yards. So
it's pretty good average.
Yes, sir. I think, all in all, we had 220 yards rushing and 190-something passing, so we had good balance.
Yeah. Anytime you hit around that 400 number, that seems to be kind of the magic number. You've got a lot of production.
Yeah, I think we're averaging about 420 for the year, so we feel good about where we are.
Well, that's good. Well, coming into this week, though, of course, your second district game. And I guess to some degree the schedule maker, at least on paper, seems to have done you a little bit of a favor playing these two teams right to start with. But Forney always seems to have it out for Poteet, even though they do come in at 1-3.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I was telling the team this yesterday or maybe Monday that when I got this job here, I was asking the kids about our rivals, and I just assumed it was West Mesquite and this and that. Well, Forney came out of most people's mouths before anybody.
Right.
And
certainly the other way, if you were to ask Forney before North Forney came into it this year, they would certainly say Poteet's their main rival.
Yeah, and I've talked to the kids about the history of Forney when they were one high school town, 3A, and they were going deep every year. And there's a lot of tradition in Forney, Texas.
It certainly is.
Kids are going to play hard. And, in 2010, my first year here, I think they were 2-7 going into the last game. They beat West Mesquite, who was a great ball club, beat them 35-34, that allowed us to share some of the district title. And anyway, we have a lot of respect for Forney. I think Coach Rush and his staff do as good a job coaching as anybody. And, we didn't know much about Newman Smith. We didn't know, we'd never played them and all, but we know a lot about Forney, and we know when we're going to Forney.
Yeah, kind of linked. It's almost like the Mesquite district and Forney are always going to be linked.
Yes.
It's been for years. They've been connected.
Yes, it'll be we always compare going in a district game on the road is like a 15-round fight. And when you go to Forney, it's going to take all 15 rounds.
So they're 1-3, having coming off a pretty tough loss against a good Highland Park team, 42-7, I believe was the score last week.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me a little bit about, their offense obviously sputtered last week, but's had a couple of nice games this year. Tell me a little bit about their offense, maybe Jack King and Clayton Chadwick, a little bit about what they do.
Well, they're spread like we are. Their game was a lot like ours. It was 7-0 right before half. And then some bad things happened, and it kind of got away from them in the second half. But they're spread. They're more of a physical running team than Newman Smith was. Jack King does a good job of leading the offense.
But even though Jack King's running the show from quarterback, the guy that they're looking for is number 9, Clayton Chadwick, correct?
Correct. I mean, he is do it all for them. I mean, he's the guy. He'll line up. He'll catch passes. He'll run the ball. He'll line up at quarterback, and we have to know where he is. He's a very good ball player.
Yeah, definitely. So now on the defensive side of the ball for Forney this week, they have the defensive end, Eric Maurice. You got to watch out for him, double him down, all that, right?
Yeah, he's probably their top defensive lineman. We think they're pretty steady, just like they always are up front. But we think he's probably their best. He's their left defensive end. Most people with their best kid there because most teams are right-handed, and that's where they've got him. And but yeah, he's pretty solid.
Yeah, and so then in the backfield, there's several decent athletes, but one of them that stands out to you, I believe, is number 2, Cody Penny. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, he's one of those kids that you watch film and you just enjoy watching him play. He's not the biggest. He just plays hard.
And he's there every play and sticking his nose in there when he can.
Yeah, that's right. He's a good player.
Well, so what is it that you're going to tell your boys this week? You go out to the second week. What is it that those people that are watching this at home would be able to say, the last thing Coach Jackson said to these guys is going to be what?
Well, we just have to take care of business. We have to play Poteet Pirate football. And we can't start slow like we did last week and just hope it's going to work out. We have to take the game from the get-go.
Yeah, because you're on the road as opposed to being at home. Obviously, that changes a bit.
It does. I mean, it really does. It changes just how the dynamics are, and you just can't wait for a district win. You have to go earn every district win. And I'm not sure we took Newman Smith quite serious enough, and we can't make that mistake against Forney.
Right, because at some point this season, there will be a team that if you take them lightly, that even though they may not be as good as you, they will eventually step up and beat you.
That's right. That's right. Every game, every week is different, and sometimes the most talented team doesn't win, and we're very proud of our kids. They play hard, and they're coachable and all, but we just feel like maybe the week off last week, we kind of just started a little bit slow, and we got to start fast this week.
Right. Well, fantastic. Well, Coach, thank you for taking time to visit with us this week.
Thank you very much, David.
Well, that does it for this week's edition of Pirate Talk with Coach Randy Jackson. I'm David Griffin saying thank you, and thank you to our sponsor, Community Life Church, for being a part of this one.